got a lot of questions on my last video about washes, and I know I showed which washes I use in the videos, but I want to show you guys the differences in the washes, and I'm gonna show you how to make a wash. So if you're not subscribed yet, consider subscribing. I don't want you guys to miss out on this greatness. Subscribing is the only way you'll be able to witness the greatness, unless you just like to lurk and you want to not subscribe and check back in. But anyway, just subscribe. You might as well hit the notification bell so you know when to upload, all that good stuff. I do want to show you guys how to make a wash. I'm gonna show you this wash, I'm gonna show you this wash, and I'm gonna show you my alcohol wash, and I'm actually going to put them on figures so you can see like how they act and how they react and stuff like that. So the wash I put on this figure here, which is King Sphinx, is the Create Effects wash. Let me zoom in. I get this wash from Michael's. It's about $6. It's an acrylic wash. I use acrylic. You can pretty much buy this in enamel. I don't know about lacquer, but they do have lacquer washes. But this is the wash I use. This is the one I used on King Sphinx. It's a really good wash. I like it because it's really thick and it really gets into all of the spots. I know some washes do, some don't. This one, once it dries, it really gets in there and it sticks into the spots you need it to be in. I really like this one. And oddly enough, this stuff is thick enough to where you can make 2 bottles out of one. That's what I love about this wash too, is a little bit goes a long way. So what I do is I buy 2 of these and I put half of it in an empty container, and the half that's in here I put with water, and the half in the empty container I put with water as well. So you can get 2 bottles out of one. That's what I like about this wash too, is it goes a long way because it's really thick stuff. Like you can see that on the bottom, like all the liquid's at the top, but that's all the pigment right there. All the pigment will be rested at the bottom. So what I do is once I get this, I mix it up, I shake it, I take a paintbrush and I get all the stuff off the bottom, pour half in the bottle, fill this up with water, and that's the one I use. And once it runs out, I can use the other bottle. It just saves you a little bit of time, a little bit of money, so you don't have to keep buying it over and over. One of the washes, this is like one of my go-to washes. I really like this one. And then the wash I used for Crimson Dynamo here, this is not really a wash. This is more of a panel liner. I've seen people use it as a wash. I actually use it as a wash on him. And the only downside to this is it's enamel. It's enamel based. So you have to use a lacquer thinner or enamel thinner to get it off of whatever you put it on. And it's going to leave the surface a little sticky. Just a little bit sticky. Not too much. But I do like the effect I got on this figure with this liner wash. I do like the effect it gave. It's solid. I don't know where you'd be able to find it. I got this from what is this place called? Hobbytown here in California. I don't know about other states. You could probably try Amazon or any site that sells Gundams should have it. I say act now though, because people, ever since this lockdown stuff, people have been buying up Gundam stuff, and I wasn't able to find this my first few trips. I had to keep going back and back to find it. So if you can find it local, get it local. If you can't, check Amazon or eBay. Those are probably the best ways to get it. And then my last wash that I personally use, I made this myself, is alcohol wash. You can buy alcohol washes separate. You can get them from, I don't know what companies make them, but you can get alcohol washes. If you just look up alcohol model wash or whatever, you'll find it. I don't know if Hobby Lobby or Michael sells alcohol washes, but I like alcohol wash because it's easy to take off of the figure. Like literally you could just use alcohol to wipe it off. And to me, water, when I use water washes, they don't last as long as when I do an alcohol wash. When I do an alcohol wash, it tends to stick around after the fact. When I do water and paint, it's really opaque and it's not it doesn't stick to the figure like I like. So I'm gonna show you how all of these act on a figure right now. I got this terrible figure here, Red Guardian. So I'm gonna show you how these washes act on this figure. Let me get it squared up. So I'm pretty much gonna put the wash on different parts. I'm gonna put the wash on different parts of this figure so you can see what's gonna happen. Oh, this is Tamiya, by the way. So Tamiya panel liner, panel accent color. They make gray, brown, and black, and some other color, I think. But you just want to shake this up a little bit just to get that pigment. Pigment will rest on the bottom. You just want to get the pigment off the bottom. So I'm gonna put this. This stuff is really thin, and this stuff is really thin, and it really is that blurry. No, it's not. Just watch what it does. I love this stuff. I just love what it does. See how it gets in there and it spreads itself? I want to put enough. Yeah, this stuff will spread itself out. So you see it'll go all the way around. If I was on camera, it'll go all the way around wherever you need it to be. I try to keep it in one spot because it makes cleanup easier. You don't want to like sit here and paint this like this, because then it is getting the job done. But what happens is, you see how it's down here now? This stuff is really, it'll really stain the plastic if you don't get to it. You have to wait till it dries, but it'll stain the plastic because this stuff it's enamel is crazy. Enamel is crazy. But let me do the star too. I just want to show you how this stuff acts. This stuff is, I love this stuff. Get enough on there, it'll spread itself out. Oops, see, I dripped it. I'm tripping. I dripped it on there, but I can get that up with a, if you get to it quick enough, get that up with a cotton swab. But you let that stuff dry in there. You let it dry, and then you take your, what do I have? I have enamel thinner that I bought. I use this one. For this stuff, I use this enamel thinner. I got it from Hobby Lobby. This is Tester's enamel thinner. You can't see it because it's labeled. But yeah, this is Tester's enamel thinner that I use for this accent color here. But yeah, that gets that off. And then let me show you the Create Effects. I usually like to stir it with a paintbrush, but you can shake it. It's whatever you want to do. This is watered down, by the way. So we're going to do this on one of the legs. Let me show you. Now, all of this stuff, you have to wait till it dries. There we go. You just wait till it dries. And then my technique now is I wait till it dries. I wait till it dries, and then I take a wet cloth and I wipe it off. There's the Create Effects. Create Effects wash is there. The Enamel Wash is on the chest and the arm. And then we'll put the alcohol wash on this leg here. The alcohol wash has kind of the same consistency as this. Screw the top on. It kind of has the same consistency as this, but it's a little bit different. It acts a little bit different. It's actually a little more watery. I have to mix this stuff up too. See, that's all alcohol and paint. And the paint I use for this is some, I don't even know where it is. You can use any black paint. It doesn't matter. I found some stuff on Hobby Lobby that was on clearance. It was like $4 on clearance, or not even. It was like $2 on clearance. But it was just some black acrylic paint. You can use whatever paint you know you're comfortable with. But I'll just mix it up. Just mix it up a bit. And then watch how I put this on this figure. See how this stuff, it kind of acts like the Enamel Wash, but it has the same consistency, I guess you could say, as the Enamel Wash. But I'll show you, I'm gonna show you guys what it looks like when it's dry. I really love doing alcohol washes, and it's so easy to clean up. It is really ridiculous how easy it is. So yeah, base figure I used was Red Guardian. So the panel liner is on the arm and the chest. Create Effects is on the leg, and then the alcohol wash is on the other leg. I'm gonna let this dry, and with some computer magic, we'll be right. All right, so we're back, and these are pretty much dry. If you remember, this is the Enamel Wash, Create Effects, and then the Create Effects, and then the alcohol wash. I'm gonna get the materials that I need to wipe these off. I already got the enamel out, so let's start with that one. Just get the Enamel Wash. Enamel Thinner, and use a Q-tip. That's what I use. You can use a cotton swab or whatever you want to use, or not a cotton swab, the round one. I don't know what it's called, but yeah, that stuff's dry, and you can see all the detail this stuff just fills in. Is crazy. You might want to wear like a mask or something. This stuff is strong, especially this thinner. This thinner's pretty strong. But you can see like the amount of detail. And then you can let it dry like this and then go over it again and wipe off even more. It's however you want to do it, but this enamel thinner just really gets all the detail. It really gets on the little nooks and crannies. But as you can see what I was talking about, you see how it's stained down here? So it's stained that lower arm, so you really got to be careful when you use the enamel stuff, because it'll stain. And it not to say it's hard to come off, you just have to use the other side of you have to use a clean Q-tip, and it'll get clean. But you just have to be careful with that. Let me do the chest for you too. I really like the way this stuff looks. It really just, this enamel stuff is not meant for large areas. It's more meant for subtle nooks and crannies and stuff like that. Like if you build Gundam or ever have seen somebody build Gundam, they'll use it in panel lines, not in major, like I wouldn't do this figure with the enamel wash because it just wouldn't come out the same. But yeah, you see on the chest, it just got just little highlights on the star, little highlights on the side, stuff like that. The enamel wash is really good for little stuff. And then for larger areas, that's when you use your alcohol wash or your Creative Effects. So let me get some water. All right, so I have my wet cloth here. I like to use this microfiber. I don't know why I just started using it, but I like to use the microfiber. You can use a napkin or anything. I'd rather use this than a napkin though, because it doesn't, when I use napkins and do this, the napkins tend to rip. So I'd rather use a little towel. But I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna wipe this off so you can see it, the detail it leaves behind. Now you don't want to go, I mean, you can rub harder, but you really don't want to rub too hard because it is possible to just wipe it all away. You kind of want to just let it hit it and then just back and forth. And if you don't see it coming off, like right here, you can go a little bit harder. You can scrub a little bit harder just to get that off of there. Come across a situation like this, my best advice is to go back in with the wash and redo this whole section. That way you don't have these hard lines like this. So you take your wash and you redo this whole section and you won't have a hard line like that. Because sometimes it does, the wash will just dry like that and it'll leave a hard line. But you can see the little details this wash leaves behind. It leaves behind a lot of little stuff. Like the straps are now dirty. This is one thing I love to use on belts and pouches and stuff, is this Creative Effects. If you put Creative Effects over anything brown, it kind of really makes it look real. It gives it that touch of realism. You can put it over anything, but I really like it over browns and reds and stuff like that. You could do it over blacks too. What it does over a black is it'll be really subtle. It'll get in the low spots. See here, this is in the low spots too. But you can see like around this pouch here. See how dirty it is. It just makes it look worn and stuff like that. I really love Creative Effects. It's a really phenomenal wash. Next, I'm wiping with this alcohol wash. I do have alcohol already in the container, just because I use this stuff so much. So you take that. This one I'll use a napkin because I don't have a rag I would want to wipe with or soak with alcohol. But yeah, take a napkin, or you can take a napkin or one of these, either one you want. I just chose a napkin because it was right here. And this stuff too, you just, was I on camera? I wasn't on camera. You just take this stuff and you wipe it off. This one you can go kind of hard because you can always reapply any of these washes if you wipe off too much. There's the alcohol wash removed, and you can see the difference in the two. The alcohol wash, mainly because the alcohol wash is black too. The Creative Effects is a black wash, but it's more of a brown wash, you could say. Where is it at? You can't really see it, but it was right there. It says black wash. It's more brown than black. They have this testers, Creative Effects. They make this wash in different colors. You can get blue, black. I actually have this one too. It's maple. It's more red. This is a Effects maple wash. It's the same wash, same company. It's just a more reddish wash. I used it for like rust and mud type on the boots and stuff like that. You just different stuff like that. You can use this for the same thing, mud and stuff, but that maple one is more for like rust. You see the major difference in these types of washes. Like the alcohol wash is more dirty, mainly like I said, because it's black wash. It's like an actual black color wash. This one gives a really subtle, this is Creative Effects, you get a really subtle just weathering effect. It's not overly over the top. It can be if you keep layering it. It can get really dirty and really muddy. And then the alcohol wash too is, like I said, it's a darker color, so it just leaves a little bit more detail in there. And then you got the enamel wash, which gets into these really little small areas. All of these will get into the small areas, but I found the enamel wash and the alcohol wash do it better than the Creative Effects in my experience. So yeah, those are just the different types of washes. The panel liner, and you have your Creative Effects, and then your alcohol wash. You can mix your own alcohol wash. That's what I like to do. You can use any color you want. You can mix enamel wash, whatever paints you are comfortable with to use to make a wash. You can buy your washes too. Sell this at Michael's. This is more hobby stores, like modeling stores. The store I go to is called Hobby Town. I don't know if they have one in your area, but Hobby Town sells this, and I'm pretty sure any place that sells Gundam accessories will have this too. And you can get alcohol from Target for like $1.29, and any paint you can use. What's that one paint? Apple Barrel. Any cheap paint you want, you can use to mix up an alcohol wash. Hope this video helped you guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Check out these other videos on the screen, and I'm out.